Hello, guys! Welcome to Show Sunday and the end of our, I guess, traumatizing anime month.
Oh my god. Really wasn't that bad.
Well, for Valen, he chose it.
Yeah.
Vampire Night.
Vampire Night was truly traumatizing.
So, I've been calling it Sword Art Online Season 2. It turns out that it's more so Sword Art Online, the second arc of the first run of the anime, the 2012 anime. And yeah, so I had watched this around when it originally had come out, and I hadn't watched it since then. So I remembered disliking it. I remembered that we watched a bunch of like Mother's Basement videos, as well as other people roasting it and everything, and I thought that this was a perfect time to revisit it. Now, originally, how this was going to go was that I was going to have these guys. Well, originally, we were going to do it for 5 weeks. But we lowered it down to 3 weeks. So my original plan was that we were going to watch the first 6 episodes of the first arc of SAO, and then finally finish that off with the episodes from the second arc. We didn't do that. So I figured it didn't make sense to watch the first arc because that's not the worst part of the show, so it wouldn't really make sense to watch that. So we watched the very first episode, then the first episode of the second arc, and then the last 5 episodes of the second arc. And they explore incest, actually.
that's apparently the theme.
Incest month.
Yeah,
That's the theme of the month. Hooray!
Oh, great. So, I feel like I should give the floor out to you guys, because I kind of knew what I was getting into going into this, so whomever wants to go first.
So I'm like, I had like half a bottle of wine and then like a smaller bottle of like Smirnoff vodka, so that's my state of mind right now. And like my main thing is this, because okay, when you have like a second arc or a second season or whatever, like the whole point of that is you have to justify its existence by doing one of two things, right? You either have to like, you know, go further and have it be higher stakes and more shit happening or whatever, or you explore something that is related but definitely different from like the original thing. Now again, we didn't see the first part, but from what it looks like, it seems like neither of that happened. It seems like here's just this second plot, which is like lower stakes than the first plot. So who cares? Like, it's just the whole thing feels so whatever. It's just like, okay, Asuna's trapped, save her, and it's like, okay, it's like, but like they can't die in the game anymore, or in the real life or whatever. So it's like, okay, then like, where's the tension? There's none. Like, who cares?
I guess like the second arc relies solely on how much the viewer cares about Kirito and Asuna, because it's all personal motivation.
But even then, the thing is that they nerfed Asuna's character.
Yeah, like Mother's Basement calls this arc the arc where Asuna's character development goes to die.
I mean, she doesn't. From what I saw, it's like there is no character. It's just like she's like, I'm trapped and I'm sad, and it's like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that makes more sense to people who watched the first arc of the show.
It doesn't make that much sense.
It doesn't? Okay, never mind. So, yeah, she's just trapped in a rape dungeon for no reason then.
Because the thing is that she had, like, a good character. Like, you guys didn't actually get to see any of that because, again, the original plan was hopefully we'd get to see her, but we couldn't do that because of time restraints. But regardless, she had a character. Now it's not there anymore. And I think, Valen, you mentioned this, where you were like, the fact that we skipped around all these places, but I still know what's going on with very minimal information is kind of sad.
Yeah, because, like, we just flat out skipped, like, what, 5-6 episodes or something like that?
Of the second arc, and then most of the first arc.
Yeah, and, well, like, the first arc, it's like, okay, at least I don't know what happened specifically. So there were some, I guess you could say, oh, there's some things I don't get, but it's just the idea of, like, okay, I don't really get this, but it's obviously something from the first arc. Whatever. Like, that's expected. That's not that weird. But the fact that we just skipped, like, 6 episodes of, like, the second arc, and yet the second arc itself, it was like, I fully understand what's going on with that. Like, why? Like, it's as if they, like, had a story. It seems like they basically didn't have an idea. It was like, we have an idea, at least, for the first arc, but we need, apparently, that's like, 15 episodes worth or something. So then we're like, well, shit, but they wanted 25 episodes. Okay, we have to stretch out, like, 10 more episodes. Shit, she just, like, stays captured for some reason by some other guy who's there. Also, I like how, like, literally immediately, I was like, that's the villain, right? But, fucking, it's because it was so, like, yeah, it's like the fact that it seems like they were like, okay, so she's trapped, so they have to, first of all, there's this stuff with, like, apparently these other characters that you said that he meets, like, in the episodes we skipped, and it's like, okay, that's literally it. And then there's this stuff with Leafa, and then there's this whole thing about, like, that, how it's, like, his, not sister, and it's like, alright. And the whole thing is just like, why would... It's one of those things where it's like, okay, could you it's like you're trying to justify that this isn't weird. And it's like, okay, but, like, why did you bother writing this in the first place? You could have not written this, and then you wouldn't have to justify it. Like, what?
Like, he could have gone and lived with, like, his family friend. Fine, whatever.
Yeah, it's so that's just weird. And yeah, it's just okay. Also, the little fairy thing, calling him, like, daddy all the time. It's like, bro, you're like 12. Stop.
Oh my god.
So, apparently, canonly, in the beginning of Sword Art Online, he is 14, and then during the fairy dance arc, aka the second arc, he is 16, which means also Asuna is also 16, and I don't know how that would have worked, potentially, in the whole marrying thing. With the villain guy.
Pedophilia.
Yeah, and again, that's also something where it's like, you could have just not done this.
Yeah, exactly. You could have just had him be like, oh yeah, I want to be evil and, like, mind control, and stop there. It doesn't make any goddamn sense, but you don't need the creepy pedo shit.
I mean, the overall thing with the plot is like, okay, we're trapping them inside the game. It's like, to do what? It's like to know their
that doesn't make
souls or something, and no, it doesn't make any fucking sense. So it's just the whole premise is dumb. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of said this Ruby, where it's like, I don't know why anyone would like this. Like, not from, and again, it's not, like, absolutely awful, but it's this idea of, like, there's nothing in this that is, like, good enough to, like, offset the bad thing. Like, there is stuff like this that's not bad, and, like, so why wouldn't you just watch that instead? Like, why did this ever get popular? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
So, I guess to give some background, this was actually originally a light novel.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's true.
This is a light novel series that then it got adapted into an anime and game, I think. Yeah, I think there's a game with it too. And many seasons of anime and stuff like that. So
apparently there's some aspect of the anime that's still airing right now.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Apparently, like, the newer seasons of it are, so the writer and author has, like, come out and said, and he actually accepts criticism and whatnot, and he's admitted that I think on Mother's Basement he mentioned that he doesn't know how exactly, he can't help it sometimes where he acts well, like he can't write girl characters to not fall in love with Kirito or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently,
Then, like, try harder, bro. Like, fucking come on. Like, I guess admitting it's one thing, but like, not an excuse. God damn it.
And apparently the newer arcs are better or something or another, but yeah, this is, what I showed you is, I think, the arc that most people agree is the worst arc. So, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm not saying that I'm justifying it, because, like I said, I put it in this month for a reason. But I'm just putting it out there. That, yeah.
I guess now you have more context to watch more of Mother's Basement's takedowns of their other...
I know I saw one of them, I don't remember which one, or, you know...
He has so many.
He has one where he literally fixes this arc. So, Valen, now you can watch that video with that context.
Okay.
I think the one... Oh, yeah, no, we were talking about this during the watch of the very first episode, but I mentioned that he has a video on like how the game of SAO itself is bad.
Oh yeah, Valen was so mad about the game again.
And
so
like
much dumb shit that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's all that dumb shit. He talks about like all the menus and stuff, but like yeah, we were talking about how the design of SAO like as a world is so boring. Like you have to pick the most generic medieval European setting for your MMO, and it's like you could do anything with it. You could set it in space and have pirates, but they're also you can do everything with that. Be creative!
I think the other thing he mentioned is everyone is a sword master, which is kind of fundamentally makes it kind of boring.
That doesn't make any sense!
Exactly. Like, again, the thing is like the fucking
unlimited skills.
Oh yeah,
you have unlimited skills, but there's only limited amount of like gold. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And then limited resources. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what moron made something like that? And yeah, just the fact that everyone's like uses a sword. It's like, bro, like the whole thing. You're based it on like the stereotypical like kind of, you know, WoW / like Final Fantasy kind of setting, like. Characters in that use more than swords. Like what the fuck? Like come on. It just yeah. It comes off like again. It's one of those things where it's like It's not atrocious, but like there's nothing in it that's like
interesting.
Yeah, it's just so bland.
Mm-hmm.
So. This was the first of its genre in terms of the whole isekai thing.
At least modern day isekai.
Yeah, modern day isekai. So now this is the reason that like Re:Zero and like Log Horizon and all those things exist.
Take me back to the days of Inuyasha, please.
Man, it's like so I watched part 1 of Mushoku Tensei last year, which is an isekai, and the whole premise of that, character-wise, is that the main character who gets isekai'd or whatever is like a fucking like loser, like internet weirdo, like 30-year-old who lives in his mother's basement. Like, but like that's the point. So the point is he's like a fucking weirdo who gets like reincarnated into like the soul of like a kid of like who's part of this sort of this like side group of this like rich family or whatever. And there is some stuff in it that I do think is a bit like, okay, you didn't have to do that. But like at least that's the point. Is they're like, yeah, like the guy's like a fucking weirdo. Like there's a reason why some shit happens that way. And you know, there's some stuff in it that's like uncomfortable and weird. But again, that's the point, and it's just like I don't even like love the show. Again, I've only seen the first part, so first half, so I can't comment on the second half. But like, I think like the pacing gets a little bit weird at one point. You know, but it's something where it's like, hey, there's at least like a purpose for this, and I can at least like see, you know, there is a reason to watch this, versus like, you know, this or there isn't. So, Yeah.
And all the uncomfy scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's uncomfy scenes in Mushoku Tensei, but it's like there's an actual reason for it. So, but at the same time, I could still see where you're kind of like you would not really want to see it anyway. But whatever. It's because again, it's one of those things where it's like you don't realize how good something is until you see it done just even worse. So, yeah. I don't know. I should get around to watching the second part of that at some point, but so
Hey.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
who were your favorite characters?
The grass.
Fine is best girl.
The grass. I like the grass.
Yay,
You know what? It did its job. I believed it was grass.
Yay,
grass.
Alright, well, I guess with that, I think unequivocally me and Valen can both agree that Vampire Knight was the worst one.
I should have gone last.
It was the order that we had going, so oh well, whatever.
It's
I think
too
I
late
should
now.
have gone first. Valen should have still gone second, and then you should have gone last.
Well, yeah. I mean, Vampire Knight has like no redeeming qualities.
At least this you could argue some things might.
So the lesson we have learned is that Ruby had potential that was dashed because we rewatched H Bomber Guy's video.
Oh, you
Sword Art Online apparently gets better later on.
And then Vampire Knight just needs to stay in a hole in the ground and has no redeeming qualities. Just don't bother with it ever. Okay, so we finally are out of the mud.
Are we?
And we're gonna do another show because of course we are.
That's it, Show Sunday.
Yup, for the beginning of February. Well, beginning. I say beginning, but because of the fact that I think so. Yeah, the day this video goes up, isn't it? Like January 30th. Yeah, it's January 30th.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the beginning of February is gonna be shown on the 13th. But fucking whatever. Who cares? That's how that works.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
So, what we doing?
So I had two in mind. I will do the other one probably my next show Sunday in like May or June, unless we do some kind of like themed thing at some point. So the anime that I'm gonna choose, it's a remake of one that I have a history with, but it's also the remake of a different route that the original took. So we're gonna watch Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works 2014. This is not the Saber route, because I fucking hate the original Fate Stay Night 2006, and it like it made me so mad that I wrote off everything else after it, including like Fate Zero. So I didn't watch that. I didn't watch the Heaven's Feel stuff, which has which focuses on one of my favorite characters. But I had watched the original movie for Unlimited Blade Works. I can't remember what happened in it, but I heard the show is pretty good because it doesn't fucking focus on Saber because she's boring. But yeah, I'm going to see if I can at least make some peace a little bit with the Fate series, because apparently it's not that bad. It's just that Fate Stay Night is the weak one. So.
Okay, I don't know anything except for like a small handful of characters.
Did you watch that video of that one YouTuber that tried to explain it?
I don't understand.
That's fine. I mean, I don't understand it either, and I actually watched one of the series, so don't worry about it.
I also don't understand it. All I know is that there is no way to...
You will never fully understand all of it, I guess, is the thing that people are trying to say.
Yeah. There's no way to jump into it, so yeah.
Okay.
But I think he did mention that your best ways of entries are either you start with Fate Zero or you start with Unlimited Blade Works 2014. So we're gonna try it out, and hopefully it'll be better than my initial experience with this series because it was a shit show.
Okay. I don't mean I probably sound like I'm not excited. I'm getting
I mean, you're drunk as fuck.
Well, no, I'm leaving the drunk zone, which means I get into the sad zone.
Oh no.
Are you sad that Sword Art Online is over, Vanya?
I'm gonna go desperately watch the rest of it so I can watch Kirito until he eventually probably makes out with his kid, because that's probably what's gonna happen at some point, knowing this fucking series.
Hi.
Anyway.
Bye.
Bye.